This is WarCry. WarCry For Our Children, where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocate for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents, calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep on going. WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry. Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. We're not going under. This is WarCry. This is WarCry. WarCry For Our Children, where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocate for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents, calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep on going. WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry. Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. We're not going under. This is WarCry.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is War Cry. War Cry for our children, War Cry for justice, War Cry for our community, War Cry for our churches, War Cry for our schools, War Cry for justice in this whole United States of America. War Cry for us, our people, your neighbors, the church, the people that work in the deli. This is war cry for our children. Should we not care about our generation that we're losing? Yes, we should. This is war cry. And as we promised you, we was going to bring you episodes that you wouldn't see anywhere, because this is war cry. There's a lot of things happening, even though we're only into the 12th day of the 2026, there's a lot of things happening. If we just look back over the first 12 days, we can see that there's been some major things happening in the world, in our states, in our communities. But guess what? We're going to bring it to you every week. All I need you to is to subscribe and share, because we're going to broadcast all across this world and tell you about the injustices that are taking place. We are the people of God, and we've got to raise up the alarm to let people know that it's time for action. This is War Cry. I have a very exciting panel today, a very exciting guest today. I'm just so excited about what we're going to do and how you can be even involved with the things we're doing. Bring the panel on. Bring them on. Bring them on. I just love this. I love what we're doing to bring people and make them aware of what we are doing. Oh, I see Kareem on. I am so excited about you, my brother. I am so excited. Now, before we even do anything, let's go to the first video. Let's go to the first video, because I want you to tell me what you think. Let's go to the first video.
On an average day, 93 Americans are killed with guns. Thoughts and prayers do not stop gun violence. Our voices do. Speak out.
One thing that I thought about that a lot of people in the courtroom was like, Jay, we didn't even think about that.
Okay, I want you to just, let's go to the panel. Let's go to the panel. Let's go to the panel. I want you just to introduce yourselves and just tell me what was in your mind when you seen that video. I'm going to start with you, Minister Travis. What was in your mind when you seen that video? Minister Travis.
Yes, good morning. It was disturbing, it was alarming, but unfortunately I can't say that I was surprised. Because things like this happen all over the United States, but we don't know about those things because for whatever reasons, and we know that they're kept hidden from us. And thank God for shows like this, that this can be exposed and people can get an understanding about what is going on, why it's going on, and what can we do to solve the problem, or at least help with the problem. But to have it put out here that people can see it and people can absorb it and people can analyze it is more than we had before.
It's more.
Do
And
not
that's what war cry is, networking, bring it to your attention and helping. Okay, I love this couple, the pastor and his wife. This is so great. I'm going to let you come on and introduce yourselves and tell me what you do think about the video.
Good morning, Miss Montgomery, and good morning, panel. I'm Nefertiti Anfa Lashley, attorney, community justice attorney with the Legal Aid Society.
And I am her extraordinary husband, who is
Yes.
the pastor of Experiencing God Ministries, and really excited to be with you all to make a difference in these communities.
Now, we cannot see the video. We're seeing just a white page.
Can you hear us still?
On an average day, 93 Americans are killed with guns. Thoughts and prayers do not stop gun violence. Our voices do. Speak out.
Could you hear it? Could you hear it?
Yeah, we heard it, but we can't see anything, but we heard a
Okay.
voice talking about gun violence.
Okay. We're going to go on and let them work that out. But when we speak of, when you hear the word gun violence, what exactly do you think about? What exactly do you think about when you hear the word gun violence? What do you think about?
Well, it is definitely a disease. And one of the things, what I do as a community justice attorney, I work with various cure violence sites. And cure violence, the essence of cure violence is treating gun violence as a disease. And I think that's very important, that gun violence is not intrinsic to the person, right? It is a product of a lot of things: systemic racism, which is tied into economics, and the reason why the economics are the way they are, especially in our communities. So I think it's very important. When I hear gun violence, the first thing I think of is that this is a disease, and it is a disease that can be cured.
Great. Okay, Pastor, do you think that the church should be involved with assisting in the cure of this disease, gun violence?
I think the church is definitely the medication. I think there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on out there, but especially in difficult neighborhoods, Black neighborhoods, the church has played a medicinal role in bringing the community together. When we go through some communities, you'll find that there are these extraordinary, huge groups of people gathering together to worship, and then there are smaller amounts. But there is definitely this effort to have some kind of connection with the people who need to have a connection with this extraordinary God who can reverse the poison in our neighborhoods that takes away our sense of identity and being and all of that stuff. We need to be a people who can be what God has called us to be, and therefore the church is medicinal to make that happen.
Absolutely. Minister Trevor, what do you think the children experience when we have to do gun lockdowns? Or we used to do fire drills, but when we have to do gun drills, what are some of the feelings that you think the children experience?
Well, I think that the children probably experience a lot of anxiety, of flashbacks of things that are happening in their community. It creates it creates anxiety, it creates nervousness. And when things like that happen, the children cannot focus, they can't learn, they can't adequately take in the information that the teacher is telling them, because their mind is going back to that. Their safety is now broken. They feel that someone could come in at any time and do something, and now their safety is now insecure. They're not secure about their safety.
I would say, we're going to introduce the guest speaker in 1 minute. I would say that we're raising up a generation of trauma that we've created in our children.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
creating trauma in our children.
Yes.
Our children are faced with words like lockdown, active shooter, so, lock the door, turn the lights off, stay quiet, cut your cell phones off. They're faced with trauma, trauma that we were not faced with. Instead of fire drills, we got gun drills. And this is promoting a society or a generation of fear.
Right.
Now, I want to introduce to you our guest speaker, Kareem Nelson, outstanding Black man who's trying to work with our community to bring about changes based upon his own pain. See, sometimes when we go through stuff, we've got to actually reach back and help others. Many of us can start addressing this problem, but a lot of us don't even do the work. We don't do the work. We don't do the work at all. Now, before he comes on, let's bring the second video. Let's see if we can get the second video on the screen.
On an average day, 93 Americans are killed with guns. Thoughts and prayers do not stop gun violence. Our voices do. Speak out.
Now, did you guys have an opportunity to see that? Okay, now we're putting on this one. Let's go to this next video.
Mike DeGeorge and Cal Poly men's basketball have another huge conference match this week. The Rainbow Warriors of Hope Athletic Center Thursday at 7 o'clock for our Gold Out game. Show your Cal Poly pride by being loud and wearing gold. Get your tickets today at the Cal Poly ticket office or online at gopoly.com/tickets. And watch every game on ESPN+. Go Mustangs.
At Canarsie Educational Campus in Brooklyn, the lesson plan for students is a little different today.
Let me ask y'all a question. What today is perpetuating the violence amongst y'all?
These students are learning about gang life from those who know it best.
Son of crack who came at 12 years old. I was a follower. I had a low self-esteem for things that I thought would fit in.
Being in a gang offered Kareem Nelson glory, friendship, and he thought some protection.
I went to Baltimore selling drugs, thinking I was the toughest dude in the world. I got into it with a guy, right? Ultimately got shot.
That's what put him in this wheelchair. And eventually, it's part of what turned his life around.
And I escaped with my life. And that night on, I said, I don't want kids to ever have to go through what I went through.
7 years ago, he founded Wheelchairs Against Guns, going into schools around New York City with former gang members, trying to prevent students from making the same decisions they did.
Every day there's kids being recruited. Every day there's new gangs being made up.
Why are schools an easy place for gang members to recruit, new people?
One, their parents aren't around. Two, right there, the kids are most impressionable. This is where they find themselves. And the gang members know that. So they're like, yo, we're gonna go to the schools.
45% of students across America report having gangs and gang members in their schools. The CDC says just over 3/4 of all school homicides are the result of a single act of one-on-one violence, often gang-related or the result of, quote, interpersonal disputes.
Yo, me and you was in the street and I just bumped you, right? What would that cause?
Conflict.
A what?
A conflict.
A conflict, right? You know why I was shocked? Because I didn't know how to resolve my conflicts.
Through teaching better conflict resolution skills, giving students an awareness of self-esteem's role in potential gang interest, and by offering up a first-hand account of where gang life leads you.
And I had to beg for my life.
Wheelchairs Against Guns hopes to reduce the grip gangs have on some students in America. For The Race, I'm Alicia Nieves.
Now, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Kareem Nelson, the founder of Wheelchairs Against Guns. My brother, you've got the front stage.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Like I said, my name is Kareem Nelson. Founder, executive director of Wheelchairs Against Guns. Wheelchairs Against Guns was birthed in, I believe, 2013, 2014. And ever since then, I've been in a fight to, try to change this narrative with the guns in our communities. We start by like the host said, we start by going into the schools because, like I said, the gangs feel that that's where they're most impressionable. I believe that's where they're most impressionable. But just a brief story about my life, so you could get to where I'm come from. I was born in New York City to Sharice Jackson, Michael Nelson. Um, I'm the only child. I was a spoiled child. I dealt with a low self-esteem, and that's sort of the reason why I put this program together to address, the tools that we need, the tools that the kids need in our, environment to survive, which is conflict resolution strategies, critical thinking techniques, how to build and maintain a positive self-esteem, and financial literacy. Those tools I didn't have growing up. And I grew up during the crack epidemic, and it was really, it was a rough time. But I can't take any credit away from my parents because they did everything that they could, so I didn't have to, venture into the streets. But like I said, I'm an only child, and I had a low self-esteem, and I wanted to feel a part of something. And at that time, the streets was, what I embraced. I'm not proud of it, but I don't have any regrets because even though being shot, it gave me the opportunity to, come back to my neighborhoods and give the kids what I didn't have. So that's
Now,
pretty much
Kareem, let
it.
me come in and ask a question, and then I'm gonna
Okay.
let you continue. Did you feel that you was pressured? That people that you were being pressured at school, you was being pressured in the streets, that you were being pressured to become a part of something?
Yeah, I did feel the pressure, but it was more or less my decision because, like I said, I didn't know how to think straight. So when the pressure came and when the influence came to me, I just embraced it because I didn't know how to think critically and see through it. So it was the pressure there, and then it was some of my own will. But I believe the pressure drove my own will because when the pressure came, I didn't shy away from it. I kind of embraced it because that's kind of what I wanted, right? And getting into it, as I got into it, the more and more I've learned that this is not a place for me. Because at 13, I saw a friend of mine's, Dorian Dixon, get shot in his head. I believe that was God's sign to me, right? Because God knew who I was. He knew I was a strong young man. He knew that I could make the decisions that I wanted to make, but I was just weak at the time, right? So when I lost Dorian, that was my sign for me to, go back into my apartment. Because in my apartment, I had everything. I had heat, I had Atari, I had ColecoVision, I had a television, I had cable, I had food. So I wasn't, destitute to the streets. But I didn't take heed to that sign that God put in front of me, and I just kept going until 7 years later, I got shot and was paralyzed. And I believe that the pressures from the streets come from like our children. This generation doesn't know what love looks like. They don't know how it feels, outside of their parents. And some of the times they don't even get it in their household. So when you come outside and you see your brothers and they're welcoming you, and they're welcoming you and loving you, that you feel that they're loving you. You're willing to go the distance for them. You're willing to let your family down like I did for several years. I didn't get my life together until I came home from federal prison. And then coming home from federal prison, I still didn't get my life together. I had to bump my head one more time, So our kids are dealing with a lot. They don't have the tools that they need, to navigate these rough terrains. And then they don't have the self-confidence when they get the tools to implement them. So that's where we come in from. That's where WAG comes in. Like we show them we are them. We are them. We live what they went through. We have the experience that they don't have. And then sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but the majority of the time it works.
Now, when we talk about, and we're going to let the panel ask some questions too as we go on in the interview, but when we talk about conflict resolution, Kareem, you can help me out on this. A lot of time, conflict resolution in the streets don't work that well. I mean, if you're being pressured, if somebody's pushing you against the wall to do something, you could be a great talker, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So I guess what we're saying is before the conflict occurs, we've got to take a proactive stand. And that's what you're doing in the schools to teach our kids to stay away if possible. What would you say to that? And then we're going to go to the panel.
Well, I have this saying that you can't dance to every song, right? And when the kids how can I say it? State your question one more time so I can formulate.
A lot of times conflict resolution don't work in the streets.
Okay,
conflict resolution, when you're looking at a barrel of a gun or you've got a beef with somebody, and that don't always work.
So the object is this, right? Don't invite yourself to certain situations, right? So if you know that and when you're in school, after school, let's just say the Bloods are on 49th Street and they're recruiting, right? Do you take that? Do you take that route home? Right? You have to act. A lot of these times, these kids put themselves in positions where they don't have to be. You go to school, you go home. You go to school, you go home. A lot of times, it's a gray area between go to school and go home, and a lot of times the parents don't know this. So when you think about conflict resolution, it's about thinking, right? Conflict resolution. How can I resolve this conflict? Some of the times you don't even have to be there, right? And then the conflict is resolved. A lot of the times these kids hang around with the bad kid, and then they put themselves in a situation where it's unavoidable. Like you said, sometimes you could be the greatest talker. You could be the greatest talker, but you're still going to find yourself in that position at that time. So what you have to do is you have to look at the whole terrain. We give them the big picture. Look at the whole terrain, and weigh your pros and cons. Is it safe to be there? Is it safe to hang with this person? Is it safe to, to be around these people? Should I just go home? A lot of the times the kids don't have the self-esteem to answer these questions, right? So a lot of times when we find our kids in these situations where they lose their lives, it's mostly because they didn't have the self-esteem to say no. So when we come in and we share with them our stories and our plights and how we are today and how we use these tools today, it resonates with them, right? Okay, so he got shot before, and he's alive now. Maybe I should listen to him because he's alive. He didn't die, right? The bullet didn't take him. So maybe he does have something that is valuable for me to listen to. So when we're in the schools, they can let their guards down, right? They can listen. They can listen. They can take heed to the information. They don't have to turn around and show their friends that they're listening, but they're listening. And they take heed because a lot of times kids came to us, for example, there was one kid who was gangbanging and he wanted to put his flag down, but he didn't know how to put his flag down. So we had to help him. We had to go call his big homie. We had to let him know that he doesn't want this anymore. He wants to put his flag down. He wants to be a productive citizen in life, and it worked. So it just takes the kids to have the tools. Once you put yourself in that situation, it's very, very hard to get out of. So the object is to not put yourself in that situation, right? Our main goal is to make it home safe.
Make it home safe and make it home. Okay, I'm going to ask Minister Travis, followed by the pastors. What question would you like to ask them before we go on? Or comments?
I'm just saying that just wanted to say that I appreciate you and appreciate the work that you're doing. I think it's so so essential in the school system because I worked as an administrator in the school system for many years, and this is so essential of what you are saying. And that is only essential for the student, it's essential for the teachers and the administrators. So what I was going to say to you is there certain signs in a school that we could see that would alert the teacher, the administrator, that we know that there's a problem here. Is there certain things that we should see as teachers, administrators, and parents also, community also, that we could see those signs and learn how to intervene?
Okay, well, I work in the schools. So, most of the times when the kids are in the schools, how I identify the ones that are troublesome is you got to look for the ones that are not hanging in the classroom, that are not in the class, that are constantly in the stairways, that are smoking, that are vaping, that are walking around, throwing up gang signs, because it's very obvious. Like, it's not something that you cannot see or pick up on, especially if you're in the school, right? And you're in the school with these kids, and you have a relationship with them to some degree, right? And you can see when a kid is not doing what they're supposed to, right? He's running around, he's laughing, he's joking, he's trying to fit in. When it comes into usually when the kids come into the class, they always want to sit in the back of the class, So those are signs right there. Like, you have to pick up on if you constantly run into a kid and he's cutting class. Why are you not in class? What's wrong? You might find out that he has something, a strife with the teacher. So now we have to work it out. Like, you having a beef with this teacher and you're not going to class. It's not going to harm the teacher. It's going to harm you. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to think, put things to the back, and concentrate what's most important to you. Now, what's the most important to you is hanging in the stairways and smoking weed and not paying attention to your teachers. And then and this is where the wheelchair becomes a great story to tell, because now they're like, you run the risk of being like this for the rest of your life. I'm strong. I can do this. Not a lot of people in my position can't do this. And I have some friends that are in the ground that wish they could be in this wheelchair, right? So y'all need to really understand what it is that you want. And this is why, and it's not coming from somebody that's from the far left or the far right. It's something from somebody that looks like them, talks like them, dressed like them, and has been through the same thing that they think they're going through. And that's how it helps. But you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to the ones with their pants off their behind, ones that don't come to school. When they come to school, they're late. When they do come to school, they're trying to disrupt the kids that want to learn. Those are the ones that those are the ones that are the troublesome ones right there. Always joking when it's a serious situation. When they're deflecting,
Let me ask you a question. When you go into the school, do the principal or the guidance counselors say, okay, we want you to talk to these individuals. This is a group that we want you to specifically address and deal with. Do they actually say that to you?
Yes, they do. But the problem is they don't want to demify the kid. So they don't want to pick the kid and make the kid feel like he's a bad kid or you're bad, so you have to go to this program. That's a problem that I kind of see with a lot of schools. A lot of school administrators don't believe that their school have these issues, that they have a strong enough grasp on their school, that they don't need programs like ours, and it's not true. You need the program. You have to put yourself aside and ask yourself, does my school really need this? And 9 times out of 10, the school needs it. And a lot of the principals don't want to bring the program in because they have this thing about, my school doesn't need it. My school is a good school. And you can have a good school, but you can have 7 gang members in there that can disrupt your whole school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to bring the pastors in, and then we're going to go back to you again. Pastors, you have any questions you want to ask? Pastor Leslie.
Yes.
Yeah, if I can jump right in there in terms of asking a question, I think that there is a lot and perhaps too much illness in our community, I think that churches have kind of excluded themselves from the communities and they're doing stuff in-house in the church building. Then there might be some things happening outside, but I think that God has really made it pretty clear enough for the church to say, listen, there is some healing that needs to take place in this community. Too many of us are going through all kinds of different circumstances and losing our giftedness. The church has a responsibility on behalf of the kingdom of God, to interact with those people who are, they're not inside the church building, but they're inside this horror world where they're losing themselves and the capacity to be who God has created them to be. And we're seeing it. Now, I'm really being, I'm kind of getting to that disruptive place where I'm feeling an energy that I'm lacking, because I see a lot too many people out there who have children that are suffering. And then they're going to this next level of using guns and having to fight their way through whatever it is. So hear me out. The church has a responsibility for community healing. There is sickness in our community. It's not just some physical sickness, but there is spiritual sickness in the community because of who we are, what we look like, what we want to do. And the church has to step up to the plate. We
Now I
can't
got a
just be
question. Let me
sitting.
let me let me jump in here. You brought something up, critical pastor. I want to ask you, Kareem, have you been asked to go into any churches and speak?
Churches, I mean, I've done spoken in churches, but like churches are not like they're not. I'm not saying that they don't want to. I believe that the religion thing scares a lot of these children because they don't even know what religion is really. So when they hear Jesus Christ, they think that, oh, I got to go to church every Sunday and I got to do
No,
this.
no, no, no. Let me go back to the question. We have problems with our children in the church too. The church don't want to face those problems, but some of our children that come there, their parents don't know, but they're hooked up to things that they shouldn't be hooked up in school and everything else. And if we're talking about doing a preventive measure, taking a proactive stand, the church should be involved with the
Yes, it should.
proactive stand,
Yes,
even
it
from
should.
the fact that if you're at Canarsie, local churches should come out and sit in with your teaching because our kids are in the school.
Yes, very
Pastor,
much so.
back to the pastor. Pastors, what you think about what I just said?
Well, let me. Can I jump in?
Yes, come on, pastors.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is Nefertiti, attorney. One thing that, for example, we've done with Experiencing God Ministry, my husband's church, is that they often pair up with the Legal Aid Society. I work with the Legal Aid Society. We work with Cure Violence organizations across New York. I work specifically with Cure Violence organizations in Brooklyn. And Kareem, thank you so much for your organization and what you are doing. It is so powerful and needed. Organizations such as Man Up and
I work with them all.
Vivo and yes,
Mhm.
and Drum and BTTM. And so like we've partnered with some of the organization and have done food drives, for example. And so one of the things we realized is that you don't want to shove like religion down people's throats. But as my husband said, like the church is important and should be involved in community. And so what we do is we just try to be there, right? And if they ask, oh, okay, pastor, well, what's your service? Where's your service? Then we'll say, hey, okay, we have services online. Here you go. There's the link. No pressure. So I think that there's a way that if you're being there tangibly for community, I think that's the church. That's a big role of what the church should be doing. And I do think that there are some churches doing that, right? Like there are churches that are there in the community. I grew up in the St. Paul Community Baptist Church in East New York. They are continue to be very involved in community, right? In terms of everything, home ownership, youth, you name it.
Yes.
Sorry. The village, that's my aunt. The village, my aunt, who is a member of St. Paul Community Baptist Church, was like the village. Yes. So a lot of churches are doing it, and we just have to have more doing it.
Yeah, I guess, and I don't want to cut you off, but I need to say this. I guess my concern is that not so much as pushing religion down on our teens, but making the teens in the church aware of critical thinking, aware of conflict resolution. These things we're not teaching in the church. We rely on the public school systems to bring these programs up. That's what I'm saying, is that when we have organizations like Kareem to go in and give a class and say, you don't have to actually be pressured this way. This is how we do conflict resolution. This is how we do critical thinking. This is how we do negotiations. This, if someone is doing this, say something about it. Period. I think there is a separation between state and church, but I think the church still needs to bring these types of programs into the sanctuary. Period. Yes, it's a community thing, but we need to be teaching our kids. Some of our kids, such as Kareem, he came from a good home. He came. I don't know what his participation was in the church, but some of our kids are being pulled away into these areas because we don't teach these things. Period. And I think the church should be involved. Go ahead.
And you got to remember too.
Oh, wait, let me have the pastor, Kareem. Come on, Pastor.
Well, I think that the church, you said it right. The church needs to be involved, yes? But the church has to come outside.
Yes.
Jesus gave the example. Jesus left wherever it is that he was. He got himself a piece of wood and he made a cross and he went outside to face the people. We're locking ourselves and our children and our families in some church building and worshiping, when the truth is that worship is also outside the church building. We have to go into where the pains and the difficulties and the trials are, but the church has to bear its own cross. The church just can't be asking for help from outside to do what needs to be done inside and outside. As the church, we've got to go out there, just like Jesus did, bear our own cross, heal the sick, transform those people who are going through drugs and whatever it is, and help to make the community, the whole community, not the church. The church is not about the church. The church is about the community where Jesus went with his cross. So what the church needs to do, saints, is to carry their own cross into the community so that we can make a difference, so that people everywhere, whatever the color of their skin, what their issues are, can be helped to have life in all its abundance. We can't just sit inside and think it's going to happen.
Amen. Your husband preaching now. He's preaching now. I'm going to give him an offering pretty soon. He's preaching now. Only thing I can say is amen. Kareem, come in.
Yeah, but I don't know how I could make this sound. So a lot of times it's about relatability with the kids, right? So when I talk about relatability, I mean, like, what are the things that the church can do that can be relatable to the child, right? So I wouldn't say throw the Bible at them. I would try to make things. I would try to pick things from the Bible that's relevant to what they're going through, like Jesus Christ. To the left and to the right, it was a crook. From to the left to the right, it was a thief and it was a crook, right? And he told him that I will be with me wherever I go, inside my kingdom. And that was a thief and a crook. So if we can find a way to bridge that gap to show, because a lot of these kids don't know. So let me give you the demographics of what kind of kids we're dealing with, right?
Wait, let me say something. Now, understand what we're saying, Kareem. We're not saying we're going out there to preach a theology that we know the kids don't understand. We're saying we're going to meet you in the streets. The streets and the sanctuary are going to meet together and work together as community. We're not bringing religion in. We're going to show the kids first who we are as a community church. Kareem, you got it. Tell us some more.
Yeah, that's a great thing, to meet them where they're at. That's what you got to meet them where they're at. And when I say, like, I don't mean throw the book in it, but let them know who you are, what y'all believe in, and what is the purpose of why am I talking to y'all, right? So I just want to give you a demographic of the kids that we're dealing with. So they're babies raising babies. The crack epidemic, right, was bad. It had mothers. It took the mother and it took the father out of the household. Right, so it left children to raise. It left Ray to raise his little sister and his little brother, while the mother and father was out there battling their demons. So now today we're raised. Right now today, in the era that we're in, we're dealing with the babies from the babies that was raising babies. If you understand what I'm saying. So now the mentality is kind of off, because these are still children. Now this is why it's so big that when you look at it, when you look into a household, the mother, the father, and the children are all doing the same thing. They're on their devices. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. So there's a relatable thing with that family. We have to break that. We have to have the mothers and the fathers put the phones down and raise the children. Put your time into the children. Take them to church. Take them to these programs. Like I had a Cure Violence site for Rockaway, Queens. Why I lost it, I don't know. But now that my program is going, now the kids that was in my program are the ones that are shooters now. So there is a form of we can save them, but we just have to know how to save them. So how do we go out? How do us as the church go outside and address our children? How do we go outside and let them know that we are with y'all, that y'all can trust us, that we don't want to take anything away from y'all. We just want to better improve y'all. How do we do that? We have to send people into the community that are of them. Like they might see Pastor, right? They be, oh man, Pastor ain't never been through nothing. He got a good life. Not knowing that Pastor probably was one of the worst people in his community when he was outside, like they like to say. So we have to find a way to be relatable to them. Once we get the relatability to them, I believe they're ours. Because that's how I operate. Once I get them to understand that I'm relatable, that you could tell me anything and it'll stay here, and that I will help you to with my last dime, they will continue to come to us. But if we don't find that relatable bridge to get to them, it's a done deal. And it's hard because they have like our battle is against the rappers, the pills, the drugs, the clothes, the TV. This is our competition. This is all the people that we have to fight with to get to our children. And it's not an easy thing. So when we think about coming outside and bringing the church to them, it's not going to be an easy thing. We have to strategize and really figure a way out how we can reach them. You know,
Now, Kareem, I want to ask you a question. You said that you had a site and you no longer have the site, and that the youth that you were instructing, some of them have went back to the streets. How do you
yes,
feel about that? How do you feel?
I'm hot, but it kills me. It makes me. At one time when they first took my Cure Violence site, I wanted to leave it alone because it showed me that even though you still do the work, it's still politics, right? We lost our site for no reason at all. And the only thing that they could come back to me and say is that Savina Brooks, the Queens councilwoman, didn't like me. So I'm like, okay, you didn't like me, but what does that have to do with the children and the work that we put in on this peninsula? You know, I was sent to see 300 to 400 kids in the 1 year that we was there. We had programs every day for those kids, so they had somewhere to come eat, get some warmness, get a tutor, get a mentor, watch some TV, whatever it was. We had our center doors open, and now that's gone. And now
Now,
those
just
kids,
tell us
now those
how.
kids,
I'm sorry, Kareem. Go ahead. Now,
no,
those
that's right.
kids.
Now those kids feel betrayed, and now we have to go through the whole cycle again of earning their trust.
Now, tell us
So I'm
how
sorry.
a day looks at your center. Tell us what happens. How
Well,
do you recruit? Do you recruit kids? Do they volunteer come in? Tell us how that what goes on.
Well, what the cure violence is, you have violence interrupters, and you have OWs, outward workers. So the violence interrupters, they're in the community, so they're addressing the children. They're trying to bring the enrolls in. They're talking to them. They're telling them about the program, what the programs have to offer, and then they're bringing them in to the center. And then once they come into the center, they're assigned to OW. The OW works with them with the school, what they want to do, what programs they want to operate within our center, and how else we can help them as long as they're not on the streets. So a day would be, we open up our center, our outward speakers will hit the street. They would canvass, they would make sure things was okay, and around when the kids get out of school, they start pouring into the center. They're looking to, because we have a heavenly stipend system. Like I don't believe that I could tell a kid to stop doing this and don't have nothing to replace it with. So when the kids come to our center, they can, earn $25 gift cards. They can, do things. They can learn Whatever they need to learn is right there. They can come and do their homework. So when the doors open, it's just we have programs. We have the barbershop. The kids come in that are assigned to the barbershop. They sign the sign-in sheet. They go to the barbershop. Then we have a program that's dedicated to the young ladies, the beauty salon. They come in, they sign up, they go into their beauty salon classes. Then we have a workshop where we all, come into the center and we see how everyone's feeling, temperature checks to see if if a kid is, how's he feeling? Is he being pressured? So our day is centered around community and kids. So that's what the center's for. But now that we lost our contract, that experience is not there for them anymore.
Now, let me ask a question. Are you saying to us that when you speak about barbershop and you speak about cosmetology, so you're teaching our kids trades on how to be entrepreneurs so they can go learn how to cut hair, become an entrepreneur?
Yes. And we also have a program that we're trying to run now called WAG Tech. And it's an HVAC program where they can come in and learn HVAC. And then after they learn the HVAC, we're trying to come in contact with businesses that will hire them right after their HVAC training is completed. But once again, it takes funding to do these things. It takes, it's not easy. The cure violence game is basically the same winners. They're not letting any new blood in, and they're taking away the new blood that was in the system. So I don't even have a way to conduct these programs anymore because I'm on SSI myself. So the money that I once poured into it, I can't. I have a son who's autistic now, so my money is really tied up within family. So we have one program in which we work with DYCD, and that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the kids come in and they get what they need. So we went from a 6-day-a-week program to a 2-days-a-week program.
And how many people do you have working with you? How many people are working with you?
Well, I have 10 people working in the schools, and I have 3 people working in working a DYCD contract. So that's 13.
Now, how does a day in the school system look? Tell us about that.
Well, we work with the schools now. We do programming, and we do safe passage. Safe passage is mainly what we're doing now to make sure, just to the safety of the kids, make sure that they get to their destinations nice and safe. So we come into the school at 12. We do the hall monitoring, make sure the kids aren't in the schools smoking weed, vaping, making sure they get into their classes on time. And when we're doing this, we're using our curriculum. Giving them reasons on why to go to class, telling them, coaching them on conflict resolution, critical thinking, and things like that. Those are the means that we use to get them back into the class. And then after school, where we have the team on ground at the hot spots, looking for the people that are recruiting, looking for the kids that want to just linger around and smoke weed and vape. So we keep a smooth system where there's no violence. We try to address the violence before it happens. And we try to get the kids to not want to be a part of the violence.
We appreciate you. I'm going to tell you, I appreciate your work so much. We're going to let Minister Patton come in. Do you have any questions, Minister Patton?
Once again, I tell you, I really appreciate you and really appreciate the work that you're doing. I really do. I wanted to ask you a question. In your building that you have, do you have a system now that's working that the kids come in, they're still doing their homework, someone's there to help them? Is that still up and running, sir?
No, only on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 6.
From 4 to 6, okay.
Yes. We're located in Far Rockaway.
Oh, you're located in Far Rockaway.
Yeah. Okay. But my organization does work through the whole city, throughout the whole 5 hours.
Okay. And
Pastors.
Yes. I'm sorry. I wanted to just jump in. Thank you so much for the work that you do, Kareem. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the work that I do. And if anyone is watching and thinking, well, I have a young person that I'd like to get involved in some of these programs. So I'm an attorney and I work with a team of people. We work with cure violence organizations across the city. I myself specifically, I work in Brooklyn, but we have attorneys that work with cure violence sites all across the boroughs. So if you have a youth in Harlem, if you're watching this, there's street corner resources.
Yep.
There's several in many in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, SOS in Manhattan, SOS in Brooklyn. I work with SOS Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights, and like I said before, Drum and Man Up and Bevo and all these different sites. And they all have, I think one of the questions Minister Patton was asking, they have education, people who work on education and job training for the participants. So they help them get jobs. They help them get education. One of the many amazing success stories that we've had, and of course, like no names or identifying characteristics, but this person went from being in a gang to now having an amazing job, an apartment, taking care of their child and family. And I'm so proud to have like a connection to that. Like, you know, we what we do as an attorney, we're the legal wraparound services. So they have social workers, they have clinicians, they have therapy, mentorship. And for example, there was a youth who wanted to be a security guard, and they kept turning the youth down because even though the youth has turned their life around, they still have a record. So myself and somebody from the site, we had to actually go to the hearing and just really convince the judge that this young person needed a second chance. And the young person was able to get their security license, maintain it, and is doing amazing. And this is just one of many success stories of the sites. Gun violence has actually been decreasing since 2012, since the first Cure Violence site was formalized in New York City. It's, you know, Cure Violence started in Chicago and then was brought, you know, in 2012 to New York City. But from 2012 to 2024, the number of shootings has actually decreased dramatically. The New York comptroller has data statistics, I think 1,547 less shootings, and they attribute these less shootings not just to the impacts. Of course, we acknowledge NYPD and we do work. They have community police that we work with, the sites, but the community violence intervention, the crisis management system and the Cure Violence sites, they have done an amazing job. I know Miss Montgomery, you know, Sister Coco and her organization, both sides of the violence. They just do an amazing job in really mentoring kids. And myself, I have an organization, in addition to being an attorney, I have an organization, Empower Healing Arts, where I do self-esteem and art courses for youth, for them to really understand who they are and be confident in who they are. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with knowing our history. Because I think what happens now is that people try to convince us that we're in this state, Black communities, because of something of our own doing, and that's not the case. Now, yes, it's important for us to have self-responsibility, but it's important for us to know how we got here. It's important for us to know the history of redlining, right? And the fact that Black soldiers were coming home from World War II and were not getting houses, and white soldiers were getting houses. It's important for us to know that our Black communities were built on toxic waste dumps, right, around railway lines and highways. And the reason why that Black communities are where we are economically is because of systemic racism. And then when we have that foundation, we can understand, okay, so no matter who is trying to make us feel like violence and poverty is intrinsic to us, it is not, and we can rise above it. And
I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
I am so proud of you. You know, girl, you're my girl. I'm keeping it professional, doctor. Why do you say that gun violence is a disease? Why do you think you say it's a disease?
Yes. Because like a disease, it can spread. And like a disease, it's not something we're born with, right? We acquire it because of the environment. And our environment in this country over the years has been a product of systemic racism in terms of economics, right? Every time Black communities would get ahead and we would have our own schools, have our own businesses, various racist incidents have, you know, torn it down. And it's not just what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which I teach to our young people, because a lot of our young people don't even know that, right? The burning of Black Wall Street. But that happened over 100 different times across the country and different and towns. And when I tell young people that, their eyes are open, like, wow, like we are not just I think that what people like us to think, the society at large, is that we're lazy or whatever. No, we built this country, right? We built this country. And then after slavery, what was supposed to be a time of reconstruction ended up being another time of restriction and Jim Crow laws, where we were restricted as to where we can move, where we can go. People, Black
Now,
people.
Dr. Lashley, you know I love you, right? But I feel that it's our kids, and I'm gonna bring you in, Kareem. It's our children making bad choices. Now, some of those choices they're forced to make based on their social culture, their environment, the economics in their life, but the choice is ours. We can either have the disease or not have the disease. And
Yes.
I am not saying that I don't understand, but I do not want to keep giving our people an excuse to get a get out of jail card with.
Right.
Yeah,
So can I
that's what
just
I
say
don't.
one, can I just say one last thing? So I just
Yeah.
want to say it's not an excuse. What I want to do is have the young people understand that, because once they understand that they are not intrinsically bad, that this is our history, then they can make better choices and say, "Oh, wait a second. So what they're saying, that this is the color of my skin is wrong. That's not true. Okay, let me make a better choice." I just wanted to say that.
Okay, Kareem, come in, and then I'm gonna let Pastor Leslie come in. Come in, Kareem. You heard you.
Well,
You know how I feel.
yeah. Well, my thing is this: I don't want to make excuses for my people. Right? We know what it is. We see what it is. We can verbally or we verbally can say what it is. So when we think about Jim Crow and we think about all the things that are set a place us to hold us back, we're in a time now where we can say, F that, what happened back then. Let's get our thoughts together and move forward. So now what the disease is, it is a disease because you have to be some sort of sick to want to pick up a gun and harm somebody that looks like you, right? Our kids don't know no better. So this is why they're doing it. They don't know how special they are. They don't know the strength of what they can be. All they know is what they see. And what they see from the time that they wake up to the time that they go to bed is negativity. The music, the TV, their friends, the school, the streets, the gangs. This is all being fed to them, nothing positive. So how can we expect them to not be affected by this disease when they hear nothing but the negative? There's nothing really positive being poured into them. So now
I
we
got
have
to
to learn.
now, Kareem. I need to bring the doctor in, the pastor in, because he's
Okay.
itching to come in. Come on in, Pastor. What do you think? You've been hearing it.
I am itching to come in. I think that all of us need to have our own cross to handle the issues that are operating in our community, in our homes, wherever they are. Let's just call it a cross, right? Because somebody had to give their life up on that cross so that other people can live this better quality life. What I'm hearing is that we need to make some sacrifices. As the people sitting around in this room, we got to make the sacrifice so that the people who are falling by the wayside and being kicked to the curb and ending up in prison cells and all of that stuff, they can get the attention that we can give them with our cross. If we bear our cross, if we say, you know what, this is hard, this is difficult, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to help somebody else get to where they need to go, that's bearing your cross. We can't just be sitting down in a church and think that everything is going to work out. It's not going to work that way. How it's going to work is realizing that our communities are sick and they need some kind of medicinal intervention. That's our
Well,
cross.
okay, Pastor. I got to come in. Um, got to ask the hard question. If in fact what you're saying is true, and I believe it because you're saying it with passion, then why is it that so many of us don't go back like Brother Kareem did to give to help our community out? See, he took what happened in his life and he's turned it into a positive thing to help us. Why do you think that people don't give any money, they don't support, and they don't help? And black people have the mindset. See, we do a lot of talking. We do a lot of talk. We good for talking, but when it comes to action, we don't do it. We're good for copying off other people, but we're not good for helping other people. So why is it that the church has this illusion with the haves and the have-nots? The urban areas is the have-nots. The have is the one that lives somewhere upstate or somewhere in a nice community, and they don't give to our urban areas where we need the help. Pastor.
The right path. I think you're on the right track. I think that there are churches that have not reached out sufficiently to God to tap into the Almighty, to find out, God, what is it that I need to do here so that we can bring people to a knowledge of who you are so that they can have this better quality life. I think the church is having church, but I don't know that the church is really reaching out to this power being, which is the one who has created the world that we live in, and saying, God, we need some help. We need your intervention. Here I am, God, use me. Because we staying indoors, we dressing up and we looking good, but there are too many people who are dying both outside the church and inside the church that we need to do what we need to do. We can't just be sitting on a pew and think that people are just going to rise up and have their way. We need to allow God to minister his power in and through us so that the community can have the life that it needs to have and have it in all its abundance.
And
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I would say a lot of us are going through stuff, right? I think there are a lot of us who are suffering, who maybe want to help, right? They want to follow in Kareem's footsteps. They want to help, but they are so burdened by everything. They may be taking care of their mother while trying to take care of the kids and trying to take care of a nephew and a niece. And especially, there's a lot of Black women. There's a lot on Black women and Black mothers' shoulders, So I think that there are a lot of people who want to help and want to follow in that footsteps. But I think first, if we find a way to alleviate the suffering of people, and like my husband was saying, if the church finds a way to tangibly help people, that can help people actually have the motivation to go out and do something. If the church is
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. Kareem, we are coming to a close, but I got to ask you a question. Were the parents involved with the program that you did? Were the parents involved with that program in Far Rockaway?
Yes, to some extent, but we need more parents to be involved with that. We need more parents. Like when I go I'm in school and I go after school, and they have the parents teachers associate. They have the parents teachers meetings, and a lot of times the school want me to be there, and when I'm there, the parents aren't there, right? So we need our parents to step up more. We need our parents to put the devices down and start parenting their children. We need them to not be naive to think that their children aren't out here doing these things, and then when they get into the trouble, the parents are, oh, not my child. But then when it happens, it's your child. So we like I said, the parents need to start frequenting more of because we were just 29 organizations was just presented the key to the city, right, from the mayor, our old mayor Eric Adams, and I don't have those statistics yet. I tried to get them from Brother AT, but he didn't respond yet. But the statistics are Cure Violence has put a huge dent in the crime and violence that is going on in New York City, right? And with that being said, we have to have more children. We need more parents to push. We need more parents to parent their children, and we need more programs like mine to be there for them kids.
And congratulations, you got the key to the city too.
Yes,
Congratulations, Wheelchair Against Guns. Now, the other thing is there anything we can do to help you with the building that you lost in Far Rockaway? What can we do to help you? Can we write a letter? Donations. Give us your
donations, word of mouth, spreading the word of, letting it be known that we're out here. If you have any children that are in the Queens or Far Rockaway section, send them our way. We open Tuesdays and Thursdays and can earn stipends.
Give us your address.
Our address in Far Rockaway is 3411 Beach Channel Drive. That's right there across the street from Bayswater Park. You'll notice the building that'll have our logo on it. Our Cash App is WAG, WAG 974. Our Zelle, if you want to use Zelle, the telephone number is 929-662-2520. I'm not good at fundraising at all. This is one of my top. These are one of my things that I'm not good at in this.
But we got to learn. You and I had a major conversation with this, and I told you that we have to learn to be better because every amount helps us out.
Yes.
Whether it's 10, whether it's 100, whether it's 1,000, or whether it's 1,000,000. I mean, you are out there saving lives. You and others like Common Justice. You guys are out there on the front line saving lives for our kids, just like the church save lives when they come inside the church and accept Jesus. You are saving lives too. We can't get them in the church if we can't take them off the streets, and we know what is happening. So give us your Cash App again. Let us, whatever we can do, we're going to post it on the website. We are here for you, my brother. We are here for you. Give it to us again.
That's WAG 974. And I'm currently looking for a church home because I'm a Christian myself, and I just haven't found a home yet, and I'm looking for a home. Where are the pastor's church? Where's your church located, Pastor?
Well,
Pastor?
two places. One is online, so you can pick up your phone on a Saturday morning and worship with us. And then I have connections with other churches. A church in Park Slope on 7th Avenue. That it's happening. There.
Look, Pastor, I think he wants you. He wants you. So we're going to give him, text me how he can come online. Text me the Bible study, because we may have one that needs baptism. Okay.
Can I just say, so he preaches at a church in Brooklyn, Ebenezer, on second Sundays. He also preaches at a church in Connecticut, and he's online as well. So we'll text you the information.
Yes, text it, and I will give it to him. Are you talking about Ebenezer on Powell Street?
It's on Bergen.
Okay, on Bergen. We're going to get you Corinne, we're going to get you the information, because if we can get you saved, we can definitely, we can definitely, but no, we're here for you, my brother. We're going to post this on that's right, but we want to give you more power. See, because you heard the Pastor Leslie, he's an activist. True, that brother is an activist. And so when the sanctuary meets the street, we have an explosion from both ways. It's about community. We thank you for coming on. We got your Cash out. Pastor, Minister Trevor, do you want to close us out in prayer?
Yes, please. Please, Pastor.
Lord, in the name of Jesus, as we come to you today, thanking and praising you, Lord, for touching our hearts, God. Thanking and praising you, God, for this brother here that is doing the work of the Lord. We ask you, God, as we continue with our day, as we ask you, God, as we walk through our day, to touch somebody's heart, God, to cover us with the blood, to let us know and put up our discerning so we will know those that needs to hear a word from the Lord. And that hearing could be that they need food, they need money, they need direction. But we're here to be your servant. What shall you have us to do today, God? Because we're here to serve you. We thank and praise you for touching our lives. Continue to touch our lives, because we want to be the servant of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
And we are praying for a day that's gun violence free.
God knows.
But
we're praying for a day. That's right. That the statistics are 0, 0, 0. None of our kids die. I love you all. This is WarCry. We'll be back with you for another exciting episode. Remember to support. Remember to give. WarCry for our children. Our children are our inheritance. Will you protect your inheritance? Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is WarCry. WarCry for Our Children, where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, Pro warrior, advocator for justice. We stand in the gap, in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church, and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep on going. WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry. Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. We're not going under. This is WarCry.